Yo, this is Afro, aka All Flows Reach Out, and you're listening to Built for This Network. Yes, sir. From the building, stay bomb.
Hey, yeah, we're the same brothers from a long time ago. We was talking about television and doing it on the radio. What we did was to help our generation realize they got to get out there and get busy because it wasn't going to be televised. We got respect for young rappers and the way they freeway. But if you're going to be teaching folks things, be sure you know what you're saying. Older folks in our neighborhood got plenty of know-how. Remember, if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be out there now. And I ain't coming at you with no disrespect. All I'm saying is that you damn well got to be correct. Because if you're going to be speaking for a whole generation and you know enough to try and handle their education, be sure you know the real deal about past situations and ain't just repeating what you heard on a local TV station. Sometimes they tell lies and put them in a truthful disguise. But the truth is, that's why we said it wouldn't be televised. They don't know what to say to our young folks, but they know that you do. And if they really knew the truth, why would they tell you? The first sign is peace. Tell all them gun-toting young brothers that the man is glad to see us out there killing one another. We raised too much hell when they were shooting us down, so they started poisoning our mind and trying to jerk us all around. And then they tell us they got to come in and control our situation. They want half of us on dope and the other half in incarceration. If the ones they want dead ain't killed by what they instigated, they can put some dope on the brother's body and claim it was drug-related. Tell them drug-related means there don't need to be no investigation, or at least that's the way they're gonna play it on the local TV station. All your 9mm brothers, give them something to think about. Tell them you heard that this is the new word. They got to work that stuff out. Because somehow they feeling the wrong way with a gun in their hands. They feeling real independent, but they just pulling contracts with a man. 5 will tell you it's hopeless out there on the avenue, but if they really knew the truth, why would they tell you? And if they look at you like you're insane and they start calling you scarecrow and say you ain't got no brain, or start telling folks that you suddenly gone lame, or that white folks have finally co-opted your game, or worse yet, implying that you don't really know, that's the same thing they said about us a long time ago. Young rappers, one more suggestion before I get out of your way. But I appreciate the respect you give me and what you got to say. I'm saying protect your community and spread that respect around. Tell brothers and sisters they got to calm that bullshit down. Because we're terrorizing our old folks and we brought fear into our homes. And they ain't got to hang out with the senior citizens. Just tell them, damn it, leave the old folks alone. And we know who's ripping off the neighborhood. Tell them that BS has got to stop. Tell them you're sorry they can't handle it out there, but they got to take the crime off the block. And if they look at you like they think you're insane, or start calling you scarecrow thinking you ain't got no brain, or start telling folks that you suddenly gone lame, or that white folks have suddenly co-opted your game, or worse yet, saying that you really don't know, that's the same thing they said about me a long time ago. And if they tell folks that you finally lost your nerve, that's the same thing they said about us when we said Johannesburg. But I think you young folks need to know that things don't go both ways. You can't talk respect on every other song or just every other day. What I'm speaking on now is the raps about the women folks. On one song, she's your African queen, and on the next one, she's a joke. And you ain't said no words that I haven't heard, but that ain't no compliment. It only insults 8 people out of 10 and questions your intelligence. 4-letter words or 4-syllable words won't make you a poet. It will only magnify how shallow you are and let everybody know it. And if they look at you like they think you're insane, or they call you scarecrow thinking you ain't got no brain, or start telling folks that you suddenly gone lame, or that the white folks have finally co-opted your game, or you really don't know, they said that about me a long time ago. If they finally start telling people that you lost your nerve, that's what they said about Johannesburg. You ain't insane. You have got a brain. You haven't gone lame. You have got your game. Remember, keep the nerve. Keep the nerve. Keep the nerve. Keep the nerve. We're talking about peace.
It's official. Style Guys is trending for the holiday season. Located 1252 Burnham Ave in Calumet City. Being black owned and operated with new items weekly, in store, and even online. And with over 50,000 followers online, you can't miss out. Sales going on till 2022. Like jogging suits, hoodies, t-shirts, Jordan Craig, Smoke Rise, Crisp, sweaters, and so much more. So beat the lines and order online from Style Guys, 1252 Burnham Ave in Calumet City. Contact them today at 708-801-9481. Again, 708-801-9481. Or check them out from Tuesday to Saturday from noon to 7 p.m. or Sundays from noon to 5 p.m. Style Guys, 1252 Burnham Ave in Calumet City. Life, fashion, style. Follow some of the newest styles by Style Guys in Calumet City. Lock in The Style Guys on IG or look them up, thestyleguys.com. Gone wild!
Doesn't make sense for you to compete against. Calm down, listen to a brother who knows. Cause the calm down, listen to a brother who knows. Cause the calm down, listen to a brother who knows. Cause the doesn't make sense for you to compete against. Calm down, listen to America's best.
You are listening to the End of the Bench podcast on Built for This Network, hosted by my man H-Rap B.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. It's your man H-Rap B coming at you live and direct as I do every Tuesday. Excuse me this evening. I left my glasses. I can't see nothing. I can't see nothing. So work with your boy. Thank you for tuning in. This is the End of the Bench, the End of the Bench media, and this is Build and Destroy, where we build the community, destroy the lies and the propaganda that surrounds our community. Thank you for tuning in. If you are tuned in on the Facebook side, hit that thumbs up, hit that like, hit that heart, hit that like or that thumbs up. If you are tuned in on the YouTube side, do the same. Subscribe, tell a friend, share. Use the notifications so you get notifications every week. Thank you for tuning in. You can go to www.theendofthebench.com, www.theendofthebench.com. And as of today, I have opened a new page, and that new page is going to show a month, the next 4 weeks of shows. So if you missed today, you can either go to YouTube or you can go to theendofthebench.com and you can watch as frequently as you like, comment, and then all the comments come directly to me, and I'll see them and I'll respond or what have you. Again, thank you for tuning in. I have to salute my ancestors. Without them, there is no me. That's everybody connected to the Pollard family. That is my dear mother, rest in peace, Dolores Annette Pollard, and my awesome dad, John Williams Sr. Thank you for creating me. Thank you for putting me in the lineage that I'm in. Without you, there is no me. That means there is no the End of the Bench. And actually, without my mother, I wouldn't be doing this. She inspired me to do this maybe a month before she transitioned back in 2010. It took me a little while to do it, but coming up is the anniversary. The anniversary of the show is the 13th, her birthday, 7 years ago. So I think I'll do something special that night. Now, even though I'm blind as a bat right now, well, I can see you guys, and you guys can see me. I can see things. I'm gonna have to do the entire show from memory because guess what? I can't see my notes, but I do know what I was going to talk about. I'm being silly, I'm being facetious, but I'm going to talk about, for the last month, really for the last 6 months, but I intensified it over the last month. I've been talking about the importance of voting, the importance of elections, and the importance of localizing it. Mm-hmm. See, it's easy to talk about elections, the president, and the president means absolutely, positively nothing to you, as far as I'm concerned. We need to be worried about the school boards, and I'm going to get into that a little later. We need to be talking about the aldermen, the state representatives, the tax assessor, the school board president. Again, I'll get into that a little later. And these are the things that we need to be focusing on. The people who represent you, the people who can affect you, even things like, I can't read it because it ain't in my notes. And too small. But things like the commissioner of community colleges, this guy helps you build colleges in your community, as well as if you're a minority contractor, he allows you to be a part of that financial windfall so you can be a part of the community. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off, and I'm going to give a warning. I've never given a warning. I've always shot directly from the hip. I got my man Kirby, got my man Mayhem, DJ 2Q, Charlotte in the building. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's always good to see people. I got CJ on the other side. Good to see you, young bro. I'm going to show you guys a video. And this video is somewhat disturbing. And that has nothing to do with my disclosure, because the video is the video. I didn't create the video. I didn't say the things that were offensive in this video. But what I am going to do is I'm going to speak matter-of-factly. And as I speak matter-of-factly, it may offend some people. It may offend some people's sensibilities. And that's just the way the world works. Everything isn't meant to be warm and cuddly. And it's because it's not going to be warm and cuddly. Some people may be offended. And, we live in a time where people are easily offended, and you're going to have to deal with it today. Salute to my homeboy, Joe. What's up, young bro? That's just the way it is. I'll show you guys this video. To me, it's disturbing. A lot of people, make excuses. What we do in this community is, because we are good people, contrary to popular belief. Don't tell me about the propagandized news. Don't tell me about what you read in the newspaper and what you hear going on in the streets. We are good people. We're good people by nature. It's what we are. It's who we are. We are part warrior class. We're part artistic, and we're creative as all outdoors. But I want you to listen to this, and then I'll come back and address the things that I'm talking about. But this struck me as disturbing. So here we go.
Deep down in my heart, I'm ethnocentric, which means I think my race is the superior one. Oh,
no, white is better than all.
No, let me finish. I think everybody thinks that, they're just not honest about it.
Hey, I'm not racist, though. I like all types of content.
Did I say I don't like people?
People only think that.
So you said you are what? You are racist?
You saying you're like...
I think everybody's a racist at that level.
No, you said you are racist.
I did. Yeah, I'm trying to be honest. No, I'm not saying it again. I said it enough.
So you're racist.
I think I'm like telling you something.
Yes, you did.
Put your phone up.
I respect you for a while, but like now,
I don't got no more respect for you.
Put it up.
Yeah, sir. I don't think I got respect for him no more, bro.
You should have more respect for him, honestly.
No, not at all.
Okay. What that was, oops.
Quote, this
oops.
type of
Okay, let me get back to you. What that was a video clip. You know how we had this thing in 2022 or last 5 years with the advent of technology that allows us to do it. What we do is record everything. Our young people salute. First of all, that was a middle school class, and that was a teacher telling him who he was at the end of the day. Now, first and foremost, I want to commend those young people. Those young people could have overreacted. They could have got emotional. They could have got thrown off. If you look in the background, it's this one young man. Not only was he calm, cool, and collected, he sat down to listen, to understand exactly where this man at. He folded his arms and was very attentive. Salute to that young man and the rest of those young people who were in that classroom. Those were people from our community. There were people from the white community. There were people from the Latino community. It was everybody that was in that room. Now, what he will eventually, what will happen is he will be able to explain himself. And I do believe he will explain himself as a person who was speaking from a sociological point of view. What I believe he will say is, I'm not saying I'm racist. I'm just saying everybody should feel they're better than people. But years and years ago, I saw this clip with Dick Gregory. And Dick Gregory made this statement, and it, sometimes people say things and it just hangs over your head or hangs right here. It stays right here. You got all this stuff going on in your head and it stays right here. For whatever reason, it stays there. And he said, sometimes God will put something on your mind and he'll make you tell on yourself. And at that point, it was this dude named Reverend Powell, and it was suspected that Reverend Powell was in on the assassination of the late great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And he literally said, and I stepped out and I moved to the side so he can get a clear shot. And it was perceived that Reverend Powell was in on the assassination. We'll never know. But I'm using that context to show this man, I do believe he does believe that, and he's not speaking from a tribal sense. My tribe is the best. You know, but when you say you're a racist, and then, you know, you got Dr. Claude Anderson, a person who I dearly respect. I mean, I got the utmost respect for Dr. Claude Anderson. His definition, it is a race. It's a race, it's a competition between cultures for supremacy, for power, money, and other things, and resources. He'll use things like that. Well, you know, what these people do is they use the dictionary definition of terms, and it's not used the loose definition or the colloquialisms that we use in a traditional conversation, right? The reason I showed that is this. It brought me back to 1979 James Baldwin. And I use this from the top of my head because I can't read my notes, people, because I left my glasses at home. But anyway, I can remember this. The great James Baldwin. For those who are not familiar with James Baldwin, one of the greatest thinkers in the history of the United States of America, right? James Baldwin said, we need to take our children off these school buses, and we need to take them out of these schools and educate them ourselves. And he said, because a nation that cannot teach their own children is useless to the rest of the world. You can't teach the world anything. Now, one of the things, salute to my man D Great, it's good to see you, my brother. One of the things that James Baldwin meant by that is, and the same thing Carter G. Woodson, same thing the late great Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois said. We need to, W.E.B. Du Bois said in 1963, right before he transitioned, he said, at some point, these laws are going to change. And what's going to happen is we're going to transition from being oppressed to adapting to the oppressive state of mind, and then we're going to be lost. And what he meant by that is, they'll change the laws, they'll augment the laws in the way they are. They won't beat you, they won't attack you physically, but what they'll do is make you abandon your culture, and then you'll try to adapt to theirs. What's his name? Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black History Week. Afro-American Black History Week, and then it transitioned in the late 60s to Black History Month. He said, what we need to do is make sure that we understand the very same education system that makes the ancestors of people who own plantations empower them because they see themselves. It oppresses the people who are the ancestors of the people who were enslaved. And that's exactly what we're being part of. Look, I'm not here to ruin anybody's holiday. I'm not. If you don't think that this is a reflection of white nationalism or what is traditionally known, I don't call it white supremacy because they're not supreme to anybody. If you don't think this is doing a disservice to our young people, when you have an instructor at the front of a class telling the children that he's better than them, cool. That's fine. I don't need you to agree with me or anybody, anything that I say, but I want you to take heed to what I'm saying. If you don't think that this is a reflection of white supremacy at its finest, this is what I want you to think about. What is it? Day after tomorrow, we'll be celebrating Thankstakings. Y'all call it Thanksgiving. I call it Thankstakings. We have been socialized to celebrate oppression. The Thanksgiving holiday for the people who are known as Indians in this country is the beginning of the end. If you don't understand that, I'm sorry. It's the beginning of the end. These people, we are celebrating the taking over of a land from a group of people who welcome people in with open arms. this is what I want you to understand. This is what we're celebrating. Imagine somebody creating a holiday to celebrate the 1619 Day. You know, that's when the people who were over here in Jamestown, Virginia, brought over the first group of our ancestors and made them indentured slaves and forced them into indentured servitude. That's the first documenting. We were here before then, but we're not going to get into that. I've covered that on previous videos. Go to www, go to YouTube. You'll see it. I've got videos and everything. But this is what I want you to understand. We must prepare ourselves for the day that things go bad. Because look, at some point, things may go, more than likely will go bad. Because we've inculcated our lifestyle, inculcated our minds, inculcated our very existence into a system that truly hates us. Shout out to my man, Rated Kev. And for just give me a second. Today is my homeboy, my brother, my man, Rated Kevin's birthday. Happy birthday, Rated Kev, and thank you for taking time out of your birthday to support me on this broadcast. It's also always awesome to see you, but even on a day like today, I want to say happy birthday to you in front of everybody in the world. But anyway, we must start educating ourselves on who we are, educating ourselves on what we need to do, and educating ourselves on what needs to be done. Because we are in a situation to whereas exactly like then I believe Lincoln tried to make it about religion and giving them thanks to the fathers. I feel it might be exactly Abraham Lincoln. I'm gonna give y'all some quotes on Abraham Lincoln a little later to let you know the things that we've been brainwashed and tricked into, and what we've done as a community is bought into Constitution of the United States of America, the pursuit of happiness. All men are created equal. Even back then, you were considered 3/5 of a human being because they understood that in places like Mississippi and South Carolina, we outnumbered them like 60-1. It was like 4 million of us, and it was like maybe 10,000 of them. You know what I mean? So we outnumbered them in insane numbers. So, that's this another instance in which the numbers, this is what elections show you. It shows you elections have power. That's why we were 3/5 of a human being, because if you had this many people in this place and so few people in this place, the people with the most people get the most power. And we still haven't adopted that line of thinking. But we must start realizing the people who are educating our children, it is a great number of them that are not there undereducating our children because they look at our children as less than, because they've been socialized to believe that they are less than. Look, I wasn't going to do this, but I am. Some of my favorite people in the world are not from my community. The teacher that inspired me the most was 6th grade, 1981. Miss Dow, 6th grade, William E. Gladstone Elementary. She pushed me and she pushed me and she pushed me. Fly tie in the building, good to see you. And she made me a better student. I got some of the best friends, some of the best people I know are not from my community. So I'm not saying all people, but I am here to debunk that lie that most people care about us. They don't. Oh, well, see, we it was abolitionists, and some of the best people who helped me the most are not from our community, and it's been our community that denigrated me, and when I didn't have anything, that's the trope that we hear all the time. But how about this? Maybe the people who denigrated you the most are from your community because they're from your community, you jackass. Could that be it? Like I've gotten in more arguments with my older sisters than anybody in the world, because for the first 20 years of my life, I saw them all the time. So, people who I saw them every day, Thanksgiving, I saw them, Christmas, I saw them, Easter, all the stuff, all the things, I saw them. So my cousins, you're not going to be able to get in more confrontations than me and my sisters, me and my cousins and other places. The teacher merely voiced their beliefs. We have to empower and educate our children to believe civil activities and woke teacher, and by teaching true history. Salute to Charlotte. Thank you. And that's exactly what we have to do. That's the point in the beginning of this show. We must empower our young people And if you don't believe this empowerment of our young people means something, you have lost your entire mind. And I do believe that. Benita Whitfield in the building. Thanks. Good to see you, Benita. You have lost your entire mind. Seriously. Because as we do this is an exercise in white supremacy. We inculcate, we are self-teaching. See, I can tell you I'm your friend, but if you ever say I'm your friend, it's hard for someone else to convince you that I'm not. And that's what they do. They show us people like Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln is the guy who freed us from slavery, and he's the black man's guy. And guess what he said? Abraham Lincoln said, I will always view the black man as inferior. Thomas Jefferson is another person. I quote Thomas Jefferson a bunch on here because Thomas Jefferson is a dude who said they need to rewrite the United States Constitution every 10 to 20 years because things change. He was a relatively intelligent guy, but he was a rapist. He used to rape the young lady, the little black lady. They talking about sister was his wife. Now he was a rapist. 14-year-old girls don't go with old white men, but that's neither here nor there. But Thomas Jefferson, the greatest guy in the world, according to history books, and he's one of the authors of the Constitution. He's a great guy. Sally Hemings, and he loved her, and they had children together. He raped her, and he's a child molester, and he was a people owner and abuser, and that's what it was. You can dress it up, I can tell you I don't have a big nose. That's just the way, it's the profile, but I got a big nose, and it is what it is, right? But Thomas Jefferson said, I could never imagine the black people uttering anything more than being a narrator, uttering anything more than being a narrator. Meaning a black person can tell you a story and that's it. They're not smart enough to do anything. And we reinforce that line of thinking on a regular basis. Because George Washington is upstanding. Thomas Jefferson was intelligent. Benjamin Franklin invented electricity. I thought that was God, but don't worry about it. Sorry, God. No credit to you. You made the world, but Benjamin Franklin invented life. Exactly. Every time you turn around, you hear about the greatness of white men in America. You hear about Susan B. Anthony, and she helped with suffrage with women. And every time you turn around, you are reinforced by something. And what do they tell you? When you were a slave. No, I have 300,000 years. No, not 300 years. 300,000 years of history prior to meeting you. And when we educate our children on these things, we have to stop. And as Charlotte said, we have to start educating our children on how great we are. Even just simple things like how great your mother was, how great your father was, how great your grandfather was, how great, the fact that you are here creates greatness. And you think, hey man, I don't have the money I want. I'm not in the position I want. I can always do better. Everybody can always do better. But I don't think, you have ignorant people like Bill Maher who try to even the playing field in regards to slavery by minimizing our pain and suffering by saying, slavery isn't germane to America. Everybody has slaves. The Jews had slaves. The Romans had slaves. The Italians had slaves. Yeah. But here's the thing. When those people were in bondage, they kept their identity. They kept their God. They kept their cuisine. This is why you are told, high blood pressure, you got that from your mama and your dad. That's genetic. You're genetically predisposed to have blood pressure and diabetes. You know why? Because you're not eating a diet that is exclusive to the people that look like you. When you go to the continent, you don't see a whole bunch of people over there dying with prostate cancer. When you go to the continent, you don't see a bunch of people with cavities. When you go to the continent, you don't see a lot of diabetes, prostate cancer, none of that stuff that would be inflicted in here because we've been induced and put into a situation to whereas we're not eating what is natural to us. And let's just go to a spiritual place. God put everything on earth that you need to survive. The herb, you have natural cures to high blood pressure. Things like cucumbers, things like, celery, things like beets. That moderates high blood pressure. You know why? Because it thins out the blood, it lubricates your vessels, and then it puts you in a healthier situation. But we don't eat those things because we're over here eating meat. You ever wonder why your grandfather could smoke and drink all the time? Your grandmother smoke, drink, your uncle smoke, drink all the time, and they don't die at 50 cut from a heart attack. You know why? Because meat was a delicacy, because they put vegetable and fruit in their bodies, and they live longer. Like, there was this excursion I was looking at. This guy was on an excursion to Africa, and they handed out slices of watermelon. You know, the same watermelon that you've been told that it's embarrassing to eat. All black people do is eat watermelon, which is a good thing, because our ancestors said when they were emancipated, they said, we're not eating that mess you've been feeding us for the last 200 years. We're going to eat this watermelon. Why? Because when you're working out in the field, the watermelon, if you're working outside, the watermelon is the greatest fruit in the history of the world. It hydrates you, and it fills your belly so you won't overeat. Anytime you're hydrated and your belly is filled, you don't eat to capacity. You will not be bloated and or overweight. Young man over in Africa, he said they were holding on a watermelon like it was a piece of gold. Why? Because it's a healthy piece of fruit. By the way, watermelon also helps with your blood pressure because it lubricates your body, and you don't eat this poisonous meat that they're feeding us. And this is why I keep saying to people, this is what we need to do. Understand who you are. I am going back to a high vegetable diet right after this holiday. You know, I got to do this chicken, this turkey thing. You know, I got to do that. But outside of that, I'm going back because I sleep better. I eat less. I get full faster. I drink more water. You know, it's just the natural course of events. And we have put ourselves in a situation to where as we follow, we will put blinders on, and then we follow the path of the oppressor. And once we follow that path of the oppressor, what happens? We get diabetes, we get cancer, we die fast. We can't die. Why? Look, this is like the Food and Drug Administration. Check this out. Remember when we were young people, they told us dairy was the way to go. And then we found out dairy is not the way to go. Think about this. We were told to drink milk. Milk is good for you. And then it's not milk from a black woman, or, not that milk, because that is good for you. That's good for the father and the child. But they told us, drink milk from a cow. You wonder why you're overweight and you're drinking a substance that is designed to make something grow to be 2,000 pounds. And you can't figure out why you're fat. Milk creates mucus inside your body. And you wonder why you got sinus issues. But then they figured out it. So, okay, how about this? This is, now, I usually give you 100% facts. This is rap 101. This is the book of rap. I'm at church. This is my church. This is the book of rap. The book of rap says, anytime you watch Wild Kingdom, you see those animals. When those lions eat those animals, what happens? Those animals are probably stressed out because I don't want to die. Anxiety filled down. So those same animals are being brought into your house, filled with anxiety, filled with stress, filled with pressure, and they're being doped up. And then we cut them up, we put them on our plates, we eat it. So we just ate anxiety, stress, and a whole lifetime of uncomfortableness along with drugs. And you wonder why we suffering from anxiety, depression, stress, because we just put it in our bodies. Now, this is the book of rap. I ain't got no scientific. I'm not a scientist. I got a degree in criminal justice. And I told you I was the greatest C student in the history of the world. Didn't really open books until I graduated. But just imagine, could that be why our children are going crazy? Because we eat McDonald's, we eating Burger King, we eating KFC, we eating churches, we eating Popeyes, and we putting all this stress in our body. We're not eating enough vegetables and fruit. Think about it. When you cook something, it gets brown, which is a true indication of death. Vegetables are bright and beautiful, and when you eat them, you can like eat a banana. You get about 90 minutes of energy. You get a burst of energy in about 90 minutes, and you're ready to go. Apples. Me and my pastor was just talking the other day. A little heartburn. He ate a green apple, killed the heartburn. You see how these things work? See how these things working for you? But we got away from that because we were captured, we were enslaved, and we're suffering the consequences. So what we need to do is remove ourselves from this system and then start educating our children on our own. What does this have to do with voting? It has everything to do with voting. Every single solitary thing to do with voting. What I'll do is do you a favor. I will tell you about these young white women in the United States of America, and they are called the Mothers of Liberty. I'm going to take you to a place called Berkeley, South Carolina. Berkeley, South Carolina. That was man, that voting stuff don't count, man. We ain't got to do that. They going to do what they want to do anyway, right? Right. Now, we're in Berkeley, South Carolina last week. They voted on the school board. What does that mean, HVAP? School board. I don't even have no children, but you got nieces, nephews, cousins, neighbors, and friends, and they may have smaller people in their lives, right? You don't care about the school board, but that's cool, and I understand, right? But 38% of this county is black. 38% of this county is black. And I think it's really 36, but remember, y'all, I left my numeric notes. Can't read it. Left my glasses at the crib. Work with me. 30, let's just say 35 to be safe. 35% of this county is black. That's a great percentage of black people. When you close talking about 100, because you still got to deal with the indigenous, you got to deal with white people, Asian people, Latino people, all different sections of Latino people. It's all around the world, right? Good. But 38% of these people are black. Now, they voted on school board last week. They had 6 new members of the school board. They immediately appointed their own person as head of the school board. And what did they do? They immediately outlawed CRT, critical race theory, which is absolutely positively stupid. I'm going to say that again, which is absolutely positively stupid, because we've heard a lot about critical race theory, right? Critical race theory is going to hurt our feelings. And shout out to my man, my Pastor Dodd. Shout out to my man Slick, and shout out to Davina. Thank you. Good to see you, Vina. It's always good to see new people. Please hit that like button, share, tell a friend to tune in. The End of the Bench on YouTube. Thank you. Now, they have 6 new board members. They did this within hours of being elected. Hours. They didn't wait till this week. They got elected. It got confirmed. The next day, they had 6 new people on the board. They got a new board president, and they immediately outlawed critical race theory. Now, critical race theory is about teaching the accurate history. So you can't fix anything with a lie. You cannot, or half of the truth. See, if you say, hey, you go to the doctor, hey, well, you got high blood pressure. Do you eat a lot of red meat? No, I cook it till it's brown. That's a lie. You do cook it to brown, but it's still red meat. And now you're not telling the entire truth. But these are the things. Critical race theory is a trope by white nationalists to get rid. They want to ignite the base. Like a lot of people we hear, well, I heard. Nah, it's not about what you heard. What do you know? You can't package what you heard. You can't package how you feel. You can't package how you think. Tell me what you know. Now, if you want to talk about CRT, critical race theory, or we can erase that and use the real CRT, culturally responsive teaching. All throughout the United States of America, I can use myself. 1980, Miss Bullock class, William E. Gladstone Elementary, we had this blue book called Chicago. I just thumbed through the book. I just went. I ain't see no black people. I took a 0 that entire year. That entire year, social studies, I took a 0. I got it was N's and S's, N's and S's, satisfactory, non-satisfactory. I got N's in that the whole time. I took a smacking around. She yelled and screamed at me. Put me on restrictions, whatever. Beat me down. I ain't reading this with all these white folks in it. I didn't even know that's what I was doing. But 2 years later, Miss Dowd, who I just told y'all about, she gave me a book called Africa. I read that. I read the entire book over the weekend at home because it was a bunch of people that looked like me. Culturally responsive teaching is including the people in the class, in the curriculum, so they will know. Paul Robeson, W.B. Du Bois. Did you know, just a little fun facts, did you know the first Black Expo was in the 1840 in New York City? The first Black Expo. You don't know that because you're not in the history books. Why aren't you in? Why do 20% the black, only 20% of black men graduate from high school because they're not engaged. If you're not engaged, if I'm not a part of the story, why am I watching? That's why a lot of black people not into sci-fi, because when you watch Star Wars, you don't see but one brother, Lando Calrissian, played by Billy D. Williams. Why am I watching this? I'm finna go watch Shaft because I'm in that. Oh man, that's horrible. Why would you watch the black exploitation? Because I want to see me win. I want to see me do something positive. And that's what we have to reinforce, which leads me, this is why I'm saying, these people, the mothers of liberty, they have bankrolled over 500 people to go in office, and more than 50% of those people are in office. That means these people who have an agenda to oppress you have put half of their people in play. They have the most success in Florida. Guess what just happened in Florida last week? The governor, DeSantis, guess what he did? He made any class that's taught that will hurt a white person's feelings, it is illegal to teach it. Hey, if you've done wrong, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at the truth or me. Get mad at yourself for doing it. If you didn't do what you did, I wouldn't have a story to tell. Chef D in the building, good to see you. Sugar Daddy in the building, good to see you. It's always good. Thanks for the support, brothers. The reason I'm saying this is because the mothers of liberty, what is it? The moms of liberty, they have a agenda to stop the woke movement. Now that woke thing, it's a trigger to a lot of people. Hey man, that woke stuff, that's stupid. I ain't gonna do that woke thing, man. That woke stuff stupid, man. I ain't with that. Right? I get it, man. A lot of people not with the woke movement. But the woke, let's just use it in a raw dog, buck naked sense. If you were sleeping to what was going on, you were woke. Now you're woke. I got my man Larry Brandon just popped in the room. And if y'all don't understand that this woke thing and these teachers that are teaching our children erroneously and we're being subjugated in these classrooms, I asked my man Larry Brandon to come in. Me and Larry are part of a little crew. We was the Fab Five before the Fab Five, the basketball players. Let me show y'all, this is not new. Guys like that teacher in that video, it's not something new. Me, Larry, Alex, Cedric, Terrence. We were in this dude named Manuel Medina's class. We were in a welding class. If you don't understand that these people throughout the world have had issue with us for whatever reason, we've been out of high school. Next year be 35 years. This guy asked me and Larry. Larry's in the chat room. He will confirm it. Alex may come in later. Cedric may come in later as well. But this dude failed us for no reason at all. Lied to my parents. My friends supported me. But this dude told us, five young black men in the late 80s to call him master. And this is why W.B. Du Bois, this is why James Baldwin and others have told us we have to educate our children, because you got the Mothers of Liberty and you have people like Manuel Medina telling young black men to call him master. This dude, we walked into class and he just pointed at us. He said, F, 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 F. He planned to fail us and he did. We went to the principal's office, and because it was that time, adults were respected more than young people. And guess what? We suffered. Now, it galvanized our friendship. We've been friends for more than 35 years. We supported each other. We hung out every day. We just didn't go to man classes. Class was 4 periods long. We showed up at what's called homeroom now. It was called division. Then we showed up at division time. We hung out at Larry crib. We hung out at Cedric's crib. We hung out at Alex crib, played video games, listened to rap music, walked to the school, and continued our day. And if you doubt me, there it is. Larry saying, yes, he did. This is why we must educate our children. This is why we must. And I'm not telling you to ruin your holiday day after tomorrow. I'm not telling you that you can't do this and you'll sell out. I'm not doing that. I'm not here to pass judgment. I'm here to hopefully shed a little light on why we must educate our children, because we have some awesome people in this community. This is why I show videos every week to show you how awesome we are, because if your children never see how awesome you are, that destroys the possibility of hope. And when you destroy the possibility of hope, you can't see the future. If you can't see the future, you get carjackings, you get drug use, you get a lot of gunplay. Because if my life ain't worth anything, and you look just like me, your life ain't worth anything. So I can ride around in this car, I can take this car from you, I can kill you, I can do it, because I'm not going to be anything. But when you show, this is why we need to be, you can be used day after tomorrow as a family. I'm not dealing with the holiday, and I got a plan for holidays that I want you guys to listen to, and I hope you accept it. But this is why we need to ignore the things like Black Friday, because Black Friday is just, we're going to sell all these old trinkets that we have in storage that we're not going to do anything with, so we can be in the black. Because if all us running there, how many TVs do we need, fam? I got a TV that is 14 years old, 12 years old. I bought it the year after my mama died, and on Black Friday at like 4:00 in the afternoon. It's got the same $100, $150, 50-inch, 47-inch TV, 46-inch TV. And still, it works great. I ain't missed the beat. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. These are the things that we're dealing with because we don't see ourselves in the big picture, and you wonder why these young people are acting crazy. How about this? Black Friday, if we got to go shop, and then Cyber Monday, if we just got to go shop, how about we start buying our children history books? How about we buy our children tickets to go see our grandparents? So our grandparents can preach to them like, well, your grandparents used to preach to you. You thought, here go my grandma again with these stories. Yeah, these stories are helpful because they empower you. If your grandmother could get through Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, the Ku Klux Klan, sharecropping, if they can get through that, what can you do without that in your way? Now, there are certain obstacles set in our way today, but we need to start reading about those things, and we need to have paper books because in the event that they shut the cloud off or shut down anything, you don't have anything to read. And then guess what? People like DeSantis down there in Florida, whatever they're teaching is the law. Whatever they're teaching is the law. You have people that will argue with you. Hey, man, that ain't the truth. But they've never done any research, but they just know you're wrong. I've had that happen to me a bunch of times. And then like my man Kirby, shout out to Kirby, he's in the chat room. And my man Kirby tell one of his homeboys something I said on the show. His homeboy argued with him for 2 hours. And then he looked it up and he was right. Oh, man, tell old boy you right. And then he met me. Man, you right about that. I know I'm right. And I'm not telling you this because I think I'm the smartest cat in the world. But I don't just be up here I'm shooting from the head, not because I left my glasses at home. I can't see the little bitty notes. But I'm just saying, these are the things that we have to do. This Black Friday thing, this we need to start meeting up as families again. Because when you do this Thanksgiving thing, this is when you can talk about how to get the community right. This is when you can talk about how to get the children back in play. This is when you can invite friends over who don't have a family, and then they can be a part of your family. And that's the way it used to be when we were younger. Oh man, well, you remember? Well, maybe we don't want people hitting our children because that's a carryover from slavery. We don't want to hit children at all because children shouldn't be beaten. People shouldn't be beaten. Violence is never an answer to a problem, right? But maybe if your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, nephews, and cousins get to know old boy H-Rap from down the block, yeah, that's my mom and them friend. That's my uncle and them friend. And then all of a sudden, the respect starts because then when they see that's my mama friend H-Rap, I'm gonna need you to stall this out. I ain't getting in trouble when I get home. See, that was the real key about us. See, when I mentioned earlier about believing in the Constitution. See, the Constitution teaches you the pursuit of happiness. The Constitution teaches you to go get your own, and you can do it on your own because the people who wrote the Constitution didn't have an oppressor. They had just beat the Queen and the King, King Henry, even though King Henry asked the indigenous people and the black people, if y'all want to help me beat them, I'll give y'all freedom, but we chose to help the white people. Here we go. We're not going to get into that. But King Henry, the But when you learn that you got past, and when you learn that George Washington almost died, and this black man from Africa who was over, he was enslaved. He taught them immunization. He taught them how to take a piece of the disease, inject it in yourself, and then your body creates antibodies, and then you beat it. Guess what? We saved the war again. Along with fighting with them, we saved them from dying because they didn't know that, and we did. These are the things that now all of a sudden you got a young person in your house, like, hold it, an enslaved person, because we're not calling them slaves, y'all, because they're not slaves. And an enslaved person knew how to immunize 260 years ago? Yeah, he knew that. But now you got a young person who wants to be that. Now, guess what? When you talk about how great ancestor Frederick Douglass, the reason for Black History Month, because Frederick Douglass marked his birthday as Valentine's Day, and Carter G. Woodson celebrated a Black History Week, and then it evolved to Black History Month. And when you see a guy like Frederick Douglass who whipped the dude who owned him and took his freedom, and then taught himself how to read, and then all of a sudden, oh, hold on, wait a minute, an enslaved person taught himself how to read? Now you got young people that understand that no matter how bad the situation is, you can think your way out of it. There's always hope. But that's what's missing. Hope. You will always assume that you're inferior as long as you don't see examples of your superiority or your inability to fail. We cannot fail. We have not failed. What have we failed at? Nothing. And this is why voting counts, because we need to have a tax assessor that looks like you so you can get proper treatment. You need to have a clerk, a county clerk that looks like you or who thinks like you. You need to have a sheriff that thinks like you and looks like you. You need to have people who just gonna level the playing field, because if we even, we leaving. These are the things that we have to deal with on a regular basis that we haven't addressed. We have to address these things the way they come at us. We don't address them in a proper way, therefore we suffer. Reading, look, I'm so tired of this trope. You want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. How do you put something in think about this. When did that start? Let me tell you how you can clearly see that as a white nationalist or white supremacist or a trick. Oh, man, well, I don't know a lot of people that read. Right, you don't know a lot of people that read. For the first 200 years you was in this country, it was illegal for you to read. So why would they hide something in the book? 10 years after you were emancipated, 98% of us could read. Only people, as a matter of fact, black people went so hard on reading. Why do you think Frederick Douglass is popular? Because Frederick Douglass is popular because he could read. But 10 years after the emancipation, black people went to teaching their children how to read. And then white people said, I want to read too. And that's how public schools were created. No kidding. That's how public school was created. Hey, Ralph, what did Dick Gregory say about hope? Hope is directly a direct connection with God. God creates hope. God creates hope. See, oh man, I ain't doing that white man's religion. Monotheology is the study of one God created by Africans. The oldest Bible in the history of the world is in this place called Ethiopia. It's in the first chapter of the Bible. It's a chapter called Genesis. It's described as the land of Cush. When things got rough, this dude with a beard, little fro, walk on water the wine. You know that guy. He fled to Cush. Oldest standing church in the history of the world, Ethiopia, land of Cush, place that's mentioned in the first chapter of the Bible. But you believe that monotheology started in Europe. Interesting. But, and it's the white man, but even if it is, look at all the things that you learn in that book that apply to today. Respect your parents. Parents don't provoke your children. Love thy enemy. That's the one that's the one that y'all always throw at people in the church. Guess who in the church? Me. But that's what y'all, see, you love your enemy. I ain't believing in that. Love thy enemy. It's a tricky one. No, it's not. Love thy enemy is if me and you are adversaries, like me and my man Joe. Joe liked the Baltimore. He liked the Indianapolis Colts. I like the Raiders. When the Raiders play the Colts, me and Joe are adversaries at that point because we're rooting on two different things. I don't have to talk about Joe. I don't have to denigrate Joe. I don't have to make him a clown or anything of that nature. We're just at odds. You and your significant other are at odds when you have a disagreement. You don't have to denigrate that person. You're at odds. You still love them. If you're at war with a nation, I don't have to rape your women. I don't have to salt your earth. I don't have to do any of that. The Ashanti, yes, the Zulus, the Ashanti, Northern Africa, the Zulu, Southern Africa, two of the biggest warring tribes in the country. What did they do when they got into a war with somebody? They allowed them to escape. They allowed them to retreat because it's not about domination. It's about hate. It's about domination. It's not about destruction. It's not about annihilation. So that's what I love thy enemy. See, you can second guess the word of God if you like. And you don't have to have a word of faith in it. But here's the thing. God's truth. The book is the truth. God is the truth. You can't doubt anything in the book if you read it properly or if you get somebody to teach you. And then you won't have these issues. So stop allowing people who only been on the planet 5,000 years to take credit for the connection that you have with the creator of the earth. And those very people tell you that the oldest known fossil in man is a woman fossil on the continent that you come from. And the book comes from where you come from and the theology that comes from where you come from, but it's their religion. Allow me to move on. See how that works? Shout out to my man Ben and his dad and his mom. Salute. See how that works? But we continue to allow people to tell us that we're not. See, that's the way you tell people they're not connected to the creator and they're not the correct creator. They're less than. When they're less than, we can walk over them. We can walk over. We can do what we want to do, and we can do what we want to do, and then they stay subjugated. Is what I'm saying. You see how the information works once you receive it. I'm tired of us falling for the banana in the tailpipe. We must have communication. Like I told y'all 3 weeks ago, I said, we have to learn how to not be friends. And if you weren't paying attention that night, how you not be friends with somebody? If I get into an argument with Joe, I ain't picking on you, Joe. You just last, but you one of the last people to comment. If I get into an argument with Joe, I don't have to talk to Ben and say, Ben, that sucker Joe, man, he down there in Houston, you in Dallas, man. If he ever come to Dallas, don't like him. No. If I get in disagreement with Joe, I just have a disagreement with Joe. Now, get this. Here come the good part. Here come Joe. Ben said, the Bible is the truth and history. It takes understanding. Thank you, Ben. It's always good to have your support. Now, let's get back. Go back to the Bible. Go back to the Bible. The truth. When you learn the truth, you're better with it. When you're better with it, you empower yourself. You empower yourself. You create things that work. Now, back to Joe. Excuse me, I should have said back to Joe. Now, Joe. Let's just say Joe is the greatest graphic designer in the history of the world. And me and Joe have an issue. I don't like Joe. But guess what? I don't have to be his friend to say, Joe, finish developing my background for my show. And I pay him and I say, hey, you guys should need to work with Joe. How is he? He's excellent. Or how you know him? I just know him. I don't have to tell you I don't like him. You don't have to recruit enemies. That's what we end up doing. I got an issue with my older sister, Teddy. Don't nobody talk to her. She makes me sick. No, she has these set of skills. Just because we have an issue don't mean I have to denigrate her. Ben, he has an excellent network. BS3 network, you see it in there, please support it. Find us why you see him in there, please support it. Just if me and Ben, it's never gonna happen, but if me and Ben ever stop being friends, I'm never gonna say, don't watch Ben and Ari. I don't like that. No. You promote Ben. And you just keep your own personal issues with him to yourself. I don't have to like you to support you. See, that's the thing, man. We always say, well, they're in front of us because they have this. No, look. You know that one community that Kyrie and Kanye in trouble for speaking about the Jewish community, right? And they're speaking about anti-Semitism and they're allegedly speaking about anti-Semitism and things of that nature. That's not for me to judge. I can't tell you what to be offended by, who can offend you, because that's you, right? But what I can tell you is this: that very community that everybody says they're in control of everything. Guess what? They only been in control for about 50 years, 50, 60 years, right? Because in 1945, they dropped that bomb that ended that war, that they were getting killed. So remember a couple of weeks ago, if you watched the show, and it was a question asked, yo, H-Rap, how long will it take to fix the black community? And I immediately said about 10 years. The reason I said that is this: if the Jewish community can allegedly take over the world and be the most powerful community financially, structurally, and spiritually, in 70 years, you think it took them 50 years to get it in order? No, because I've been hearing that trope my entire life. When I didn't even know what it was, I was hearing that they in control, they got the bank and they got the money. If they can do it, why can't we? You know why we don't do it? Because look, this is why you need to open up that good book, because then you'll understand how to eat, you understand how to treat people, and even if you don't believe it, it's a blueprint for behavior. You don't even have to believe in Jesus. You don't have to believe in nothing. Just look at the book and understand, you know what, this works. That works. This works. This is the perfect example. I go to church every Sunday, man. James Dodd, 4104 West Roosevelt Road. Come hang out with us. Pastor James Dodd right there. But I'm there every week. That's my man Slick, indeed. So, but you don't have to believe, but it's a blueprint. Use it as a blueprint on how. Don't eat pork. Don't eat filthy animals. Eat vegetables. Treat people properly. Respect your parents. Parents, respect your children. Teach your children. These are the things that we're struggling with right now, but that's the white man's religion. I don't want to deal with that, right? Right. Ain't it awful strange? 40 years after they take religion out of school, after they take stuff like praying out of school, and the last 40 years they've been denigrating the church. 40 years later, we done had drug problems, we done had AIDS problems, we had another drug problem, alcoholism, and all this other debauchery. Could just be H-Rap, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. Now, H-Rap, you give me all this stuff, and you want me to do this, and you want me to do that. How we going to fix this? This is how we fix it. We do. Instead of going out Black Friday, we're going to start buying history books for our children. And let's create some book clubs with us and our children and our grandchildren. Create a book club with your family. And then you read a book about history and show your young people how great you are. And guess what? You're going to learn how great you are too. And now you're reading. Just like we'll get together and we'll talk about housewives and the football game and L.A. Law. And I know I'm aging myself. L.A. Law, that ain't been on TV. We've been seeing every episode of Good Times, every episode of Sanford and Son, every episode of this and every episode of that. Let's just take that same time and get to a book club with our children. And we're going to teach our children about Paul Robeson, who learned 19 different languages. So when he went to Russia, he could sing in Russian. When he went to Poland, he could sing in Polish. When he went here and he went there, he could sing in those languages. Paul Robeson, football player, professional football player, an attorney, and one of the greatest actors and singers in the history of the world. Most of our kids don't even know who he is. Most of our children don't know who W.B. Du Bois is. Most of our children don't know who Marcus Garvey is. Most of our children don't know who Whitney Young is. I live in a city where Whitney Young is the most powerful school in the city. And I bet you most people in this city don't know Whitney Young is blacker than the Ace of Spades. You don't know. How many people know Dr. King's mama got shot in church? How many people know Dr. King's brother, who's an excellent swimmer, drowned with no water in his lungs? How many people know that? That lets you know that you're behind the 8 ball. When you find out these things, how many people know about A. Philip Randolph, Baynard Rushton, Ralph Bunche? How many people know about these people, these great black people in history? How many people know about these guys, these ladies? Fannie Lou Hamer, Shirley Chisholm. How many people know about it? How many people know who Sojourner Truth is? Do your children know who Sojourner Truth is? Do people know how and during women's suffrage, they told her, you ain't, and she said, I'm a woman too. Get out of my way. Let me speak on this. And got them their rights. And then we got everybody their rights at 65. How many people know that? How many people know Betty Shabazz, Malcolm X's late great wife, late great Betty Shabazz was Dr. Betty Shabazz? How many people know Dr. King's wife was college educated? How many people know that? Hillary Clinton was the first woman to run for president. No, she wasn't. Shirley Chisholm did it. But we don't know that. How many people know Fannie Lou Hamer had to learn how to read in order to get a tax so she could vote? And then she eventually got a right to vote. How many people know that? These are the things we need to do. In regards to these holidays, like I said, man, we're gonna convert this. You know, we used to say, remember when we were younger, when I was young, I'm 52 years old. When I was younger, we used to say, Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and Happy Thanksgiving. Now, due to people saying, hey, we don't celebrate those things, they changed to the Happy Holidays. So we're gonna change Thanksgiving to Happy Family Day, because most of us get together with our families and enjoy each other, right? So it's Happy Family Day from going forward, right? That's what we're gonna do. I'm going to fast forward over Christmas because I'm going to get back to it, right? This is what I suggest. How many people know the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect in 1863, but it went into effect January 1st? How many people know that? A lot of this, I learned this via Dr. Greg Carr. Salute him at the end of every show. Dr. Greg Carr taught me that. Dr. Greg Carr taught me that January 1st, 1863, a lot of our people used that as the original Juneteenth. How about that? So what we're going to do is celebrate January 1st. That's our Independence Day. And then we're going to celebrate the history of our people in the month of February. Man, they gave us the shortest month. First of all, ain't nobody gave us a darn thing. We took it, started off a week, we took the month. It was Frederick Douglass's birthday initially. We celebrate the week of Frederick Douglass' birthday, and now we celebrate the whole month, us. I heard this dude named Jason Lee say, I don't like Black History Month because all we know or learn about is how we got beat, because you ain't opened up a book, J.A. What I want now, then this is what we're going to do. We're going to take back, how about this, y'all? Memorial Day. Memorial Day was created by our ancestors at the end of the Civil War. Why? Because a lot of our ancestors were put in mass graves. Hundreds of Black people put in one grave, totally disregarding them. When that war was over and we won, our folks went back to those places where hundreds of our ancestors were there, and they dug them up and gave them proper burial. Hence, Memorial Day. Should start off at the first week of May. Did you know that? Then folks got hold to it, put it at the end of May, because they ain't want to give us credit for that either. But this is what I want you to understand. We're going to do that. Then we got Juneteenth coming up, and we're going to celebrate the emancipation of our people, the information that's being disseminated, and us coming together and getting this thing started. Guess what started? Reconstruction. So we're going to continue to reconstruct. Then we're going to keep on moving to the end of the year. And it's, we're going to do Family Day. We're not participating in Black Friday. And I'm going to tell you why. Why are we participating in Black Friday, H-Rap? It's a lot of good discounts. See, we control $1.2 trillion in the economy. We got power. No, we don't. According to Dr. Claude Anderson, that's called consumption. What is consumption? If you're old enough to know what consumption is, when your body get eaten from the inside out. You don't want nothing eating your body from the inside out, because that means you're dying. That's what we call it sugar, or we call it diabetes. This is why we are not working from a perspective of spinning our way out of oppression. Because every time you try to spin your way into something, you get further and further behind. How about this? I got this good job. I'm getting out the hood because the hood is terrible, instead of making the hood better. I know it's difficult. I know we don't want to live in chaos. But how about this, man? When you buy a house in a good neighborhood, quote unquote good neighborhood, or affluent neighborhood, we're going to say affluent neighborhood, 99 times out of 100, one of us is not selling you that house. So you're behind 3 times. The seller of the house just made a grip. The agent just made a grip, and the bank just made a grip. So you behind 3 people because you needed a better house, right? Then I gotta go get this Mercedes or this Lexus. You just made Toyota or Lexus more money. Now that's 4 people you behind. And then you made the dealership money. That's 5 people you behind. And the salesman who don't look like you either. That's 6 people you behind. And then I got to buy all these trinkets. And I got to get the Gucci and the Bucci and the Lucci and the Bonaducci and all that. So now you behind those people. And now they have your $1.2 trillion over here. And you just got a whole bunch of shiny things. You know who likes shiny things? Monkeys and children. So while we're going to consume our way into this, what we're going to do is back our people. You're going to get people to support my program. I'm going to continue to hopefully offer solutions. I'm not telling you to support me because I need you. That's not a shameless plug, but I'm here to offer solutions. I'm not just going to complain. This is why we got to stop spending our money all willy-nilly, doing what other people want us to do, keeping up with the Joneses, like my man just said. Thank you, Slick. We're going to keep spinning our way into poverty because while our 1.2 trillion is over there, the government need to give us. Now you need to be supporting people who podcast. You need to be supporting people who do things like the commercial I play at the top of my show every week. You need to be supporting people like my homegirl Patrice with Trade Naturals. You need to be supporting people like I know somebody who do the crocheting. We got people. My daughter's a seamstress. She can make you clothes. It's people that can do everything that you want in this community. So while we're going over there, now there's some necessities that we have to go over there, and that's what the barter system is about. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna give you my money. You're gonna do this. We don't need any more chicken joints. We don't need any more hairstylists. We don't need any more nail joints. But we do need some grocery stores. We do need some corner stores. We do need some technology and information technology things. We do need to start telling our children at age 5 or 6 asking them, instead of asking your children, shout out to Karen Hunter, asking your children, what you going to be when you grow up? Ask your children, what are you going to do to contribute to the community? That's a whole different question. That's a whole nother state of mind. What are you going to do to help out your grandchildren? You're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a doctor. You're going to be an engineer. You're going to be a plumber. You're going to be an electrician. You're going to be a software engineer. That's what we're going to start assigning to our children back to the holidays. Now we're at the end of the year again. And then I'm going to need people to start celebrating Kwanzaa. The reason we celebrate things like Kwanzaa, if you look at the principles of Kwanzaa, and I had them wrote down, I'm sorry, I can't read them now because everything is this little and I can't read it. But one of them is Kujichagulia. Identify yourself. Collective works. Work together. You know, it's the principles of Kwanzaa. It's a 7-day period. It's the last 7 days of the year. And then you go into the year celebrating the new year and freedom. And you build on that. And I guarantee you, man, if we start talking about who's going to be the county clerk. We're going to start talking about who's going to be the sheriff. We're going to start talking about who's on the school board, who's on the city council, who's the mayor, who's the state representative, who's the alderman. Guess what? We out of this, what we used to call trick bag. It's easy, people. It sounds difficult. It only sounds difficult because we haven't tried it. And then I remember when I first switched over to this form of conversation, the person will remain nameless. He told me, see, you talking about dreams versus what? Complaining? If you got a better idea, at @HRAP_B, send me the inbox. The end of the bench at gmail.com. Send me an email. That's all you have to do. I'm like one of my favorite TV shows. I'm Frederick Crane. I'm listening. I'm HRAP-B. I'm listening. But if you don't, how about trying it my way? All I know is this. I use history. History has always been my favorite subject, and I use history to guide me no matter what. How does history guide me? History shows me that in the late 50s, well, in the 40s, this group of people got, in the 20s, this guy named Marcus Messiah Garvey out of Jamaica, he got together and got 4 million people. He got 4 million people together to start a movement. Out of that movement came the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X's dad, which means Malcolm X, and the noble Drew Ali. 3 movements in this country that have been uplifting black people since. Shortly after that, you got around that time, you got A. Philip Randolph, you got W.B. Du Bois, Ralph Bunche, and that crew. Then you got Medgar Evers. Then you got SNCC, Southern Christian Leadership, which spawned Dr. King, Ralph Abernathy, and that crew, Andrew Young. And if they could get things done in the face of tyranny that they face, we ain't even facing that form of tyranny. So I'm going to need us to stop saying what we can't do and start trying to do it. We can complain. You can complain and get you nowhere. Or you can start doing and get somewhere. Like Deuce Malcast said, you have to get up, get out, and get something. Don't let the days of life pass by. You have to get up, get out, and get something. Because you and I got to do for you and I. Then, rap lyrics. They must be great because I knew they lyrics. That's another show, another conversation. Tomorrow, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Tomorrow, me and my son, B. Jilla, will be on at 8:30. We're going to be talking about things, about the holidays again, because I think it's important that we talk about those things. But before I get up out of here, I want to salute the people that give me inspiration. That is the Ghetto Boys, Willie D and Scarface, Tariq Nasheed, Nori, Talib Kweli, Ray Grady, Zoe Williams, Corey Holcomb, Craig Smith, Al Sharpton, Heather B, my man Clay Kane, my personal favorite, Larry Daniel favorite, and her husband Brian favorite. Best show on Sirius Satellite Radio, you ask me. Dr. Greg Carr, one of the most informed human beings in the history of the world, you ask me. Sister that's been touched by the Lord herself. She is an angel. Karen Hunter. And the dean of this whole thing. Karen, the architect, and the Black Eagle, Joe Madison, is the dean. Salute to all those people, and salute to you guys for supporting me. I'll see y'all in a few hours. In about 23 hours. 23 hours. I'll see you guys, 25 hours. See y'all guys in 25 hours. Will be my son, BJ, H-Rap and B. We're going to do the thing as we do every week. I just need everybody who listens to me to tell a friend to tune in so we can start galvanizing our communities so we can put ourselves in a better situation. And again, you don't have to agree with everything I said. This is not a dictatorship or a dissertation. This is a dissertation. And it's not me telling you what to do. It's me making suggestions. And if you got a better one, reach out to your boy. Thank you again, man. TheEndOfTheBench.com is where you can find me and all my content going forward. I need you to subscribe to The End of the Bench on YouTube. I need you to go to Spreaker.com. Spreaker. Speaker with an R. I'm going to show it to ya. Bam. There it is. That's the get down right there. That's my personal network. I am the proprietor. Need you to go there. Spreaker.com. 4 million people. Thank you for the information. Yes, indeed, sir. Yes, indeed, sir. I think that's my sister. Salute to Teddy. Follow the lead, man. Lead, follow what? Move. Get out the way. With that being said, if you like what you heard, I hope I see you in 160. I hope I see you in 23 hours. 25 hours on A-Trap and B tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you really like what I say, I hope to see you in 167 hours. That's subtracting an hour to show. Work with your boy. Work with me. 168 hours from now, the show be going off. So 167 hours. And if you like what you heard, I need you to be a part of it. Be a part of the movement. And if you're going to be a part of the movement, get with me. And if you get with me, stay with me. And if you stay with me, we're going to take over the universe. All I got to say after that is salute to Reggie O'Shea, and that's dream your dreams and man up and woman up and live your dreams. Because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in technicolor surround sound. And negativity is always present, but you don't have to be available. And you know what's next.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We lust for that cheese, we lose sleep, dreams of that cream. We killing our teens, they dying for this American dream. Them government schemes, they turning us to hustlers and fiends. We hustling trees, them politicians smuggling green. Chasing that cheese, got everybody stressed in the streets. Pardon me for speaking freely, let it breathe. Evangelists preach the congregations out of their seats. They writing them checks for tithes, now it's people can't eat. She stripping for change for school, now she giving them brain. She used to that loot, she earning, now she giving them strain. He new to this game, but hungry, so he cooking his cane. He getting that paper, but then they gave him two to the brain. It's rules to this game, but hustlers never hustle for fame. The spirit of greed is grimy, so we struggle to change. They put us in chains to take away our African names. But if we submissive and don't resist, then who do we blame? It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim. And you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang? Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. They gave us Obama, but that nigga was hoping for change. But Zimmerman is killing niggas and he free. Shit is crazy, babies having these babies and getting checked. But keep the child from they pop to rip his heart out his chest. Our rappers was leaders and now they in the booth in the dress. Spitting bullshit and making more but giving us less. They taking our sound and changing ours, dumbing it down. They taking our jobs and homes and they shutting us out. They taking our kids because it ain't a man in the house. They locking us down, but soon they gon' be wiping us out. They told our women they was too independent to need a man. They told our brother he was too insignificant to advance. It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim. And you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang. They killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. It's all a game.
Four-letter words or four-syllable words won't make you a poet. It will only magnify how shallow you are and let everybody know it. And if they look at you like they think you're insane, or they call you scarecrow thinking you ain't got no brain, or start telling folks that you suddenly gone lame, or that the white folks have finally co-opted your game, or you really don't know, they said that about me a long time ago. If they finally start telling people that you lost your nerve, that's what they said about Johannesburg. You ain't insane. You have got a brain. You haven't gone lame. You have got your game. Remember, keep the nerve, keep the nerve, keep the nerve, keep the nerve. We're talking about peace.
Real shit.